Chapter 2 Dumb Miss Daisy and Principal Klutz. Miss Daisy said it was time for us to clear off our desk and see how much we knew about arithmetic. Ugh! If I gave you 58 apples and Principal Klutz took 28 of them away, Miss Daisy asked, how many apples would you have left? AJ? Who cares how many apples you would have left, I said. I hate apples. If you ask me, you and Principal Klutz can take all the apples away and it wouldn't bother me one bit. You would have 30 apples, said that girl, Andrea Young, in the front of the class. She had a big smile on her face, like she had just opened all her birthday presents. Andrea Young thinks she's so smart. I hate arithmetic, I announced. You know what? Miss Daisy said. I hate arithmetic too. You do? We all said. Sure. I don't even know what you get if you multiply 4 times 4. You don't? I have no idea, Miss Daisy said, scratching her head and wrinkling up her forehead like she was trying to figure it out. Maybe one of you kids can explain it to me? Oi, Miss Daisy was really dumb. Even I know what you get when you multiply 4 times 4, but that smarty pants I know everything girl, Andrea Young, beat me to it and got called on first. If you put 4 crayons in a row, she told Miss Daisy, as she put a bunch of crayons on top of her desk, and you make 4 rows of 4 crayons, you have 16 crayons. See? Then she counted the crayons from 1 to 16. Miss Daisy looked at the crayons on Andrea's desk. She had a puzzled look on her face. I'm not sure I understand, she said. Can somebody else explain it to me? Michael Robinson, this kid wearing a red t-shirt with a dirtbag on it, explained 4 times 4 again using pencils. He had 16 pencils on his desk and 4 rows of 4 pencils. Miss Daisy still had a look on her face like she didn't understand. What would happen if you subtract half of the pencils? She asked. Michael took away 2 of the rows of pencils and put them in his pencil box. Then you would have 8 pencils, we all said. Andrea Young added half of 16 is 8. Miss Daisy wrinkled up her forehead until it was almost like an accordion. She still didn't get it. She started counting the pencils on Michael's desk out loud using her fingers. She got it all wrong. We gathered around Michael's desk and tried to explain to Miss Daisy how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide numbers using the pencils. Nothing worked. Miss Daisy had to be the dumbest teacher in the history of the world. No matter how many times we tried to explain, she kept shaking her head. I'm sorry, she said. It will take me a while to understand arithmetic. Maybe you can explain it to me more tomorrow. For now, we have to clean off our desk because Principal Klutz is going to come in and talk to us. I know all about principals. My friend Billy from around the corner, who was in 2nd grade last year, told me that the principal is like the king of the school. He runs everything. Billy said that if you break the rules, you have to go to the principal's office, which is in a dungeon down in the basement. Kids in the dungeons get locked up and are forced to listen to their parents' old CDs for hours. It must be horrible. Miss Daisy told us to be on our best behavior so Principal Klutz would see how mature we were. Finally, he walked into our classroom. Welcome to the 2nd grade, he said cheerfully. I'm sure we are all going to have a wonderful year together. Principal Klutz said a lot of stuff about the rules at the school. We're not allowed to run in the halls and we're not allowed to chew gum, stuff like that. But I wasn't listening very closely because I kept staring at his head. He had no hair at all. I mean, none. His head looked like a giant egg. When Principal Klutz was done telling us the rules of the school, he asked if anyone had questions about what he had said. "Did all your hair fall out of your head?" I asked, "or did you cut it off?" Everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. Miss Daisy looked at me with a mean face. "Actually, it was both," Principal Klutz replied with a chuckle. "Almost all my hair fell out on its own, so I decided to shave the rest of it off." "That's the saddest story I've ever heard," said this girl named Emily, and she burst into tears. "Don't feel bad," Principal Klutz said. "It could have been a lot worse." "How?" sniffled Emily. "Well, at least my brain didn't fall out of my head." We all laughed, even Emily. Principal Klutz was a pretty funny guy for a principal. Any other questions? "Do you have a dungeon down in the basement where you put the bad kids?" I asked. "Actually, the dungeon is on the 3rd floor," Principal Klutz replied. Nobody laughed at this. He quickly told us that he was making a joke and that he didn't even have a dungeon at all. Principal Klutz must have felt bad that we didn't think his joke was funny, because he invited us all up to the front of the room to touch his bald head. We did, and that made everybody feel a lot better. Principal Klutz seemed nice, but a lot of people seem nice when you first meet them. Then later, you find out that they are evil villains who plan to take over the world. I bet he was lying about the dungeon.